It's a perfect day for rain. Now it's time to head inside and do a temple. Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to more Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time with a candle in my face. Anyway, last time, we explored the bottom of a well as a kid, and we got ourselves the Lens of Truth, which allows us to see items. Hidden items, to be specific. So, with this in hand, and with 17 hearts now, we are going to enter the Shadow Temple. Now, you will indeed notice that the door to the temple is closed. What? Have you ever played the Nocturne of Shadow that Sheik taught you? Yes! I did. In fact, you would have noticed that I did it in the last episode. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought it to be true, but it is true. Anywho, you'll notice that, the Shadow Temple is closed off. That's because, well, all these candles are out. Technically, you could just use the fire arrows, but why would you do that when you have Din's fire to do all the work for you? Yes. So, now we can actually get started on this. Let's head into the Shadow Temple. Now, of course, technically you don't really need the long shot in order to get across here because, well, you only technically need the hook shot to get to this, but whatever. The shadow will yield only to one with the Eye of Truth handed down in Kakariko Village. Ooh, spoopy. Ooh. Okay, so you might as well do this before it forgets, because the Shadow Temple is going to be filled with creepy, spooky, scary skeleton stuff. And, all sorts of other things. Only one who has sacred feet can cross the Valley of the Dead. What are you talking about? That's just a pit. It looks like a pit. It's honestly just a pit. Make my beak face the skull of truth. The alternative is a descent into the deep darkness, aka just a pit. So that's your tell to just basically use the Lens of Truth to see which skull will be not invisible by the Lens of Truth. And this is randomized every time, so you're not gonna always get the same one always. So according to my playthrough, it is going to be no, not this way. Not this way. You want to know what stinks too? Just in case you head in the wrong direction, you basically can't make Link stop pushing this thing until, well, the beak of truth, stops at one of the posts with the skulls on it. So, yeah. Anywho, that's the way to go for me, but unfortunately, we can't just simply jump across or even hookshot across. So we are going to have to, well, find another way to do that. And just like that sign says, we need apparently sacred feet. So why don't we just do that? I'm just going to be using the Lens of Truth here. One who gains the Eye of Truth will be able to see what is hidden in the darkness. Atmosphere! Atmosphere! Shadow Temple. Here is gathered Hyrule's bloody history of greed and hatred. Ooh, spooky. Okay, so, anywho, let's get that Bigoron sword and just basically kill this guy in one hit. Like that. Like that. Because I practiced this, and I know what's coming up. So, why don't we just do this already and just get this over with? Without wasting too much of your time and pleasure. There we go. So killing those two Redeads and that one, or not those two Redeads, two Keys and one Redead will yield you a treasure chest. That will contain the map. We know all this. And we won't get the compass until a little bit later. So, let's just continue onward. Shadow Temple, here is the bloody history of betrayal and stuff. It's the game's attempt at being spooky and dark. even without it being spooky and dark. What is hidden in the darkness? Tricks full of ill will. You can't see the way forward. Yes, I can see the way forward. It's on Twitter. Like, the way forward is on Twitter. Honest to God. And you probably know this setup, if you recall from last time. Except, well, here's the thing about this. Now that you basically have enough power, you can actually kill the hands of Dead Hand here. By the way, rematch with Dead Hand here. Basically the same thing as... Basically the same fight as you were with a kid. Except this time you're an adult. So Dead Hand won't take as long as it does. Unfortunately though, the hands that you do indeed kill will regenerate eventually. So, yeah. Kind of the point of Dead Hand here. So, I'm just going to be using the Bigoron sword here just because, well, we all know. We've all seen this before. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Okay. There we go. There it is. Got him from the same view as before. Yep. So we won't be able to see the actual face of Dead Hand whenever he dies. Unfortunate. There, you can see it for a split second. Actually, you can't. Kind of weird how he yields only like one small magic jar, which is weird. We have the hover boots. With these mysterious boots, you can hover above the ground. The downside? No traction. You can even use these to walk for short periods where there is no solid ground. Be brave and trust in the boots. So these are a basic temple item here. So, on the original versions, they are an equipment item, so yeah. Fortunately, unlike the water temple, there's really no need to constantly switch in and out of the hover boots. You can just basically leave them on as you will. And just like the iron boots, on the 3DS version, they changed the hover boots to an item. So, yeah, very useful and very quick and very easy. And also, I've been this way before. So with the hover boots, not only will Link walk faster, I guess. Well, he only has a faster walking animation. He literally walks the same speed. But also, just like the text box said, we can hover with them. So, wow. I needed to do like a rolling dot, I guess. I guess I needed to roll. Wow. Imagine if they put that just a few inches farther, then we would have been screwed. You guys would have been screwed on the temples, and you wouldn't be able to complete it anymore. Ow. You know what? I'm using Bomb Juice from now on. I'm using that. So kill this. I said kill this beam. Thank you. I don't really think why I need to pause it, but okay. And it's not very easy to point out, but this wall is indeed breakable. So basically just put a bomb chew right over here and just blow it up. But you need a key. Unfortunately, these are invisible walls, not exactly keys. So, Gyptos! Die! The only difference between Redeads and Gyptos, by the way, is that Redeads will actually be drawn to the dead Redead. So they won't be able to attack you. But unlike Redeads, Gyptos will not be so perturbed just because one of their friends dies. So, yeah, those Gyptos can be a little bit of troublesome. By the way, this is the compass. Yeah, actually you get the compass and the dungeon map fairly early on in this dungeon. It's weird, but okay, I'll take it. And another invisible wall will lead us to this room. This room. So, it's another silver rupee room. Just in case you forgot what those were, well, basically just get 5 silver rupees, and you'll be able to move on to the... Wow. Should I make that the thumbnail, or should I make that, Shadow Temple entrance thing the thumbnail? Because that would be, you know, brilliant, I guess. I mean, I think. I mean, I think it would, but I don't know if it would. This is a kid's game. This is rated E10. I mean, now it's rated E10. Back then, you know what? Here's the thing. So, originally, this game was actually rated E. This is before the advent of, you know, the E10 rating happened, of sorts. So, because of the content that the game had, when it was re-released on the 3DS, and all subsequent, like, Virtual Console releases, actually, this game was actually changed from rated E to E10. Same case with Majora's Mask, also, when Majora's Mask 3D came out. So, it's weird, like... So now this game is all suddenly, like, rated E10 because of the content. I think I guess mostly due to this, I guess. This wall, it's saying something. It says, if you want to see a fairy to the other world, come here. Alright, let's check this out then. Okay, so we can actually see that this is actually the second half of the dungeon that we are in here, that we can view. Look at this fairy, by the way. This fairy sort of has that same sort of face that we saw before when we pushed that block to the Skull of Truth. And also we can hear our gold Skulltula, by the way. But because, well, the game doesn't want us to complete this temple early, we can't really do that because of that block's in the way. Because of that block's in the way. Wow. So we're going to have to worry about that for a little bit later on in the temple. Actually, not a little later on. Actually, a lot later on, as it were. So, let us continue in our little venture. By the way, to avoid these, all you really need to do is just to shield. It's a pretty valid tactic. It's valid tactic. In fact, it's the only tactic that you can do. Anyway, keys. Come on. Thank you. Alright, so... Now at this room, this area, basically like a long sort of hallway where Skulltulas will be all spooky and jump out at you like it's a jump scare or something, but it fails because we have the hook shot, or at least the long shot. Bam. Die. You die. And then there's guillotines. Woo! Nope. No. Oh, jeez. Oh. Why didn't that shield? Why didn't that shield? Okay. That happened. Just in case you don't really have enough... You don't really have any sort of good timing with the guillotines. You're not going to have a very good time when it comes to these. And especially when they become more infrequent, like, frequent like this. So just basically avoid the guillotines, because not only will they not cut up Link and do lots of damage, but they'll do lots of damage. So, yeah. Anyway, we got another papyrus here. Let's just take him out. And before you go on any further, there are actually two ways that you can go. You can either go over there where there's a platform on a chain, or, as you can clearly see, or not see, there is some stairs here. It's actually kind of, or some platforms there that you can do. What's actually kind of weird is that sometimes whenever you're rolling, the graphic for the hover boots sometimes disappears. It's really weird. But now this. You're gonna have to deal with an invisible axe thing in this room as you take out all the enemies. This room is just basically another one of those things where it's like, oh, you have to defeat all the enemies in order to move on, or in order to solve the quote-unquote puzzle. So, yeah, it can be kind of hard to find some of the enemies here, but, you know, you can probably deal with that. Besides, there's not really, like, that much enemies. All there really is just a like, and a few keys. So, yeah, anyway, Lens of Truth. Let's see. I think, like, some of the enemies are actually invisible. I don't know. This is like after I practiced the temple, like, a few days ago. I don't know. Oh, there it is. Here we go. Right here. That should do it. Alright, so, now that we cleared out all those enemies, not only do we have a gold Skulltula right here, but we actually have a couple of treasure chests here. So this first treasure chest is, well, this room is entirely optional. You don't really have to go to this room for anything, but if you're going for 100%, then you'll want to go here. And the other chest, which is invisible, contains a bundle of arrows. So that's nice that they actually give you a refill on the arrows, just in case you know you fail. Holy crap, I managed to survive without getting hit by the axes. Holy shit. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so now we can actually head back here since, you know, if you're going for 100%, then you'll definitely not want to miss that room. And now the next room is, of course, a silver rupee challenge. It's not as hard as it looks, by the way. This is not really that hard. All you really have to worry about is just avoiding all the spikes that are on the floor, the rolling spikes, I guess, and well, just getting all these rupees. They're all in the same sort of vicinity as they normally would. Also, the camera pans up in a really weird way, and there we go. That's it's your basic story on how to do things. Now, of course, when I say the Lens of Truth isn't really required, it's more or less recommended. Well, here's the thing. You're going to find a lot of these puzzles are designed around the around finding invisible things with the Lens of Truth. So, while I do say the Lens of Truth is sort of recommended, not really required for anything, well, it's required for one little bit of gameplay that's going to become a thing later on. It is going to be mostly recommended for this dungeon, as it were. So, yeah, get that Lens of Truth, son, because, well, you will need it. You will need it indeed. Anyway, this puzzle is rather simple. All you really need to do is just to, well, uncover that invisible block thing from the invisible wall. And you have to push that block through these spike thingies. And if you get crushed by those things, you'll be sent back to the beginning of the room. So, yeah, be wary of that as you go along here. Anyway, more treasure chest time! More arrows, of course, as if we'll need, like, a whole lot. I mean, we have 40. I mean, why would they do that? Well, mostly because they're, like, not jerks. And, let's see. So, we have this treasure chest, and this is important because it contains a blue rupee. Actually, that's not the treasure chest. That is not the treasure chest that we want to look for. What we want to look for is this treasure chest by pressing that switch and going all the way over here. Speed running. And we get the small key. Yes, indeed. Okay, so now we go back over here, and we basically finished up, like, pretty much half of the dungeon at this point. Yeah, already, the next half. These dungeons may not be the longest thing in the world. Like, at most, this will probably take the usual, like, 3 videos, as I've always done with these sort of temple videos. But this one, in particular, feels a lot shorter than all the other, like, temples that we've seen so far, so... Yeah, well, mostly it's because, well, I have the Bigoron sword here. It's because we dealt with all these sort of enemies before. And here's what I said about those Redeads coming into fruition right here. Like, if one of the Redeads die, they will be distracted by that one. So you can basically just destroy this Redead right here and right now. But yeah, the Shadow Temple feels a lot shorter. Well, mainly it's because, well, I've been using the Bigoron sword, and the Bigoron sword has been doing a lot of work. Like, it's put in that work and stuff. So, it definitely does feel shorter, but at the same time, it feels sort of like the same length as all the other, you know, temples have been in this sort of time frame, I guess. And by the way, you'll need the Lens of Truth in order to see these invisible things. Okay, I take it back. The Lens of Truth is required. Oh! Yeah, whenever you feel your shoes hovering over there, that means you're way over spikes, apparently. So, yeah. Just be wary of that whenever you're entering this room without the Lens of Truth. Now, this room. Oh boy, this is an actually rather an interesting room. But first, Skulltula, die. And there we go. This is actually a rather interesting room. Because, well, you're kind of trapped in here. Hello. I think I'd rather not be hit. Also, I meant to put up my arrows. Thank you very much. I meant to put up my arrows, but apparently it didn't. Apparently the Wii U things didn't register enough. Hey, how's it going? Apparently the Wii U didn't register enough. Jeez. Some call me Johnny was right. Analog sticks do ruin everything. Alright, so this is a rather interesting room because, well, they have bomb flowers in here just in case you mess up. Because, well, with your regular bomb inventory. Because this will yield you a small key. The key that is small. Yeah. Yeah, small key, yeah. Yeah, small key, yeah. Anyway, boom. As we hookshot up there, we have a key to enter further on in the dungeon, but I think we're gonna save that for next time. Because, well, this video is kind of long enough for a dungeon video as it is. I kind of wanted to keep it under 20 minutes, but whatever. We'll go along with that. Next time on Let's Play Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, we're going to go further into the Shadow Temple, quite obviously. See you guys on the next time. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.